This is a really good example of a quarters team in Iowa defending a shallow concept. A shallow concept is kind of like a spread 101 concept that you see in four open, looks like this. We're going to get a dig from one side, typically paired with a post, so a Mills concept to one side. We're going to get a vertical column push that could be a comeback, could be a fade with a flat route by the running back. And we're going to get a shallow route or an under route, cruise route, however you define that, by the number two receiver to the back. So what we get is a two-man game here, but overall it ends up being a three-man game in the middle with a flat push, a shallow, and then a dig by the opposite receiver. So what I want to look at is starting with the safeties and working our way down. Now, Iowa is playing their middle of the field safety look. They kind of it's kind of this gray area. Is he going to work to the middle? Are we going to get some sort of a pressure? Where is this safety going to go? So the quarterback's going to look at this safety initially. That's typically where quarterbacks are going to look anyway. At the snap of the ball, you can see that he's going to work shuffle to the hash. So we're going to get two hash safeties on this. Both corners are going to be responsible for number one. Essentially, this is going to be what I would consider a mess technique. That's man except shallow or man except short. So both of these corners are essentially going to lock on number one from a press alignment. So you can see that they're both doing a really good job of mirror motor and then going with it. So we get a vertical route outside here. He's reduced off the numbers, which tells me I'm probably getting a post route. We have him in a traditional alignment, which tells me I'm probably going to get some sort of a fade or a comeback. So let's look at the safeties here. Now, the safety does a good job of staying attached to the hash. And in fact, when you communicate with safeties, what you do when the ball is not in the direct middle of the field, I would consider this into the boundary because the tackle is on the hash. That's usually how I define into the boundary. If the tackle is on the hash, we have a running back, that's formation into the boundary. So here we have the Sam, the Mike, and the Will. Sam stays to the field in a 4-3 in Iowa system. That's typically where you're going to find him. I really want to focus on this boundary safeties technique. I think this is a great technique. This is exactly what I communicate with my players and what I've talked about before in what is a stair step technique. So as you can see, he's going to get a nice step off. Step off is just a step replace. As he sees that and he gets that second step off, he sees that we get an underneath route. Now, this is a shallow, but we typically can get what is called an USAM, under Sam, over Mike, or what I call a climb route. So he can be here underneath the Sam, trying to trick him to work back to the hash. Iowa is a quarter system. They see all the tricks. The safety does a great job. He's going to stair step with it. Notice how he's tracking it. Once he makes contact with the mic, he knows he's not coming back vertical. So we're not getting a wide cross or any kind of deep crossing route. It's not going to turn into a climb route. He then is going to snap his eyes back to the quarterback, and he's now also in that middle area to cut off that dig. What this does is you're actually stealing the dig with your boundary safety. We get an underneath route here. He doesn't need to worry about vertical. He's going to pack into the hash, eyes to the quarterback, which will take him to this dig if he in fact wants to take the dig. That unlocks the front side safety to play deep. So we know we're getting a post route outside that allows now that corner to have a teammate near the hash where that post route is going to attack. So again, we're getting a Mills concept here, post with a dig. I can play a high-low scheme with my safety sliding into the middle of the field, allowing and detaching that field safety to stay high and robot back into that rollover and back into that post route. So let's look at the linebackers, for instance. This should be an automatic push alert. The running back does a good job of making this look like a chip. He doesn't go quickly there. So you can see here that he's giving a quick read. He kind of bounces. And so now he's going to snap his eyes to two. He's going to deliver it back to the mic. He sees that the mic's right there. And now the running back's going. He kind of gets a little bit out of leverage. You would typically want him to kind of just stay there. But a lot of coaches teach, hey, get hands on crossers. The problem with teaching get hands on crossers is that you end up chasing and now you really are out leveraged. So quick read, he kind of gets that bounce. Maybe he's going to chip the end. Maybe he's not. He doesn't define it really good through the middle of the field. He kind of does more of a chip, kind of a bounce chip, and then I'm out. And so right here, you can see he's doing a little angle route. It actually ends up in the favor for the will linebacker as the running back options it, and then he just tackles him right there. So it really ends up being only a 1 yard gain. But from the beginning, let's go back through this. This is a great example of how you defend this with quarters and how you can steal the middle of the field and really work those safeties at different levels and create layers in your defense with just a basic quarter scheme. So we have mess technique by the corners. You can see that they're playing soft press mess. This isn't hard. This isn't Meg. I'm not trying to get on there. I'm not going to chase him wherever he goes. If he were to go shallow right now, let's say they run shallow, but they go 1 shallow instead of 2 shallow. If he goes shallow right now, he would release that and he would create a vertical column, what I call rail it, just turn into pure zone, work and look for trash. So here we have both mess techniques by these corners. You see that we get vertical routes. They're both going to attach. We get a bounce by the running back, so it's not quickly defined. There's no quick read. He snaps his eyes at 2. 2 wants to dig him out, so he releases it to the Mike. Nice stair step technique by the boundary safety to work into the middle field. Eyes snap back to the quarterback. Quarterback is still looking at this hash, so he is just going to squat. He's cut off the dig. If the dig were to be there, he would be able to get this. The Sam linebacker actually works through 2 and out. You can have him basketball this, or you can have an extra layer of your defense to help with your Mike. If he were to layer out over here, let's say he gets in, let's say this guy's a real speedster, and we know that we're going to be able to have an outside and an inside on that mesh route or that shallow route. So now if you look at it, we have layers to our defense. We have an outside of the shallow, we have on top of the shallow, and then we have someone for that running back over here. And then we've closed the middle of the field and we've been able to double the post. This is a great example, again, of Iowa defending the shallow concept. Let's let this thing run all the way through. So typical shallow concept you see in the air raid scheme against the quarters by Iowa. Great job by the Hawkeyes.